Hello, welcome back to my video blog. Today I thought I would talk about a very important topic that I think deserves a lot more public awareness than it currently has. That is the issue of Facebook, Google, and other large data corporations basically capturing your personal data and using it to manipulate you to buy things and vote in ways they want you to, and do other things that are quite manipulative, unethical, and potentially dangerous. I titled the blog today "The Creepy Line," which is the name of a very good documentary I highly recommend on Amazon. Jordan Peterson is featured, as well as other experts that have a lot of knowledge as to what's going on. There's a very well-educated psychologist and scientist in there who's looked into this very deeply, and he shares what happened when he publicized his research on what Google and Facebook were doing. I'll save the surprise for you, but needless to say, it's quite shocking the power that they have to control people and silence them, which goes against freedom of speech. We're supposed to have a democracy. So my quote that I'm sharing with you today is, we no longer have democratic governments, we have corporate headquarters, which is bordering on fascism. And in fact, in the documentary The Creepy Line, they highlight exactly what happened in Italy when they had a fascist regime, and how it was a merger of a bunch of corporations trying to control people. And if you look at Donald Trump and just the general nature of not only our political system, but almost all the major countries in the world today, from England to Australia to most of them, you will see that this issue is going on. And when you look at the reach that Google has, something like 90% of all data transfer is handled by Google, which means they have a massive, massive stronghold. And when you look at the documentary, you'll find some pretty shocking things. They explain, for example, how they can use your phone system, especially people with Android phone systems, and they've programmed it so that whenever you turn it back on, it uploads all sorts of personal data and can be recording everything in the background, even film footage that you've taken. You might have been filming you and your partner having nice wild sex or something, and will probably be surprised to know that that's on a Google server somewhere. So it's extremely invasive to us personally. And when you see the strategies they use to manipulate people, specifically to drive people to corporations or companies that are spending money with them on advertising, and not to mention the risks of manipulating political campaigns, which is highly suspected to be why Donald Trump is the president in the first place. It might change the way you use your phone and the way you use Facebook, the way you interact with Google, if you use Google as your search engine. Personally, I think this is a real issue. It's a very well produced documentary. There's a lot of highly educated people. Many of the people talking are coming from inside, some of them that have worked inside of Google and Facebook. And I just think it's really important for all of us to pay attention to these issues, because they're very, very real and very serious. And as artificial intelligence gets more evolved, the power of it gets to be much more dangerous. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It can do great things, but it can also be very harmful. And when it's in the hands of a few people that are not controlled by the government. In fact, the documentary shows that the United States military gets its contracts for computers and data access right through Google, so they have access, paradoxically, to everything the military's doing to some degree. So, you know, we're at a time in the development of technology and in the evolution of human beings, where we have a lot of very complex issues happening at once, many of which could be very, very threatening to our own survival. When you find out that Google can completely shut off your phones, your internet access, and even your bank account access, when you find out that one company is controlling any number of things from air traffic control systems to food delivery systems, that's too much power in the hands of one small group of people, and it's extremely dangerous. So I don't have a definite solution, except that I tell people, use your phone as a tool. And when you're done with the tool, don't keep using it to basically film and capture every bit of your life, because you're exposing yourself tremendously. And that information can and is used against you until we have legislation passed in governments to protect us from things like this. In fact, I'll be doing a podcast sometime in the next 2 or 3 months here with Dr. Mercola, who's looked into this in great depth, and we will share what he's found on this. And it was Ben Greenfield that encouraged me to watch the documentary, The Creepy Line, because it was so big of an issue and concerning to him that he also wanted me to know about it. And most of us that are, that have public forums like this want to support you so that you can do better. But there's a computer scientist on there who gives some pretty shocking information that I think all of you need to hear. And I'll let you hear his solutions for how to handle it. Today, my gift to you is just a gift of awareness and an opportunity to go to Amazon.com. The movie is not even a pay movie. It's free, I think. When I watched it, there was no fee anyhow. I have Amazon Prime, so it might be due to that. But I think these are issues that we all need to start paying attention to and talking about, and working together collectively to come up with strategies, because any one of you could have ideas that are important. And until we start talking about it, brainstorming, and really working together to find ways to protect each other and protect our entire countries and the world from manipulation from these large corporations that have far too much power. And also, these types of things have a tendency to shift the power balance and the financial balance, so just a few people in the world keep getting richer and richer, and the gap between the very rich and the very poor gets bigger and bigger, which is never a good thing. It's dangerous to economies. It's dangerous in many, many ways. It can even lead to war. So I hope you think this is important as I do. And again, the documentary is called The Creepy Line. It's right on Amazon.com. Watch it. Feel free to share your thoughts, comments on my YouTube channel where you're watching this. If there's other documentaries or things that you think people should know about, feel free to share. And let's all inspire other people to pay more attention to what's going on, because as the documentary shows clearly, these people are not regulated by any legislation, by any governing body. They're pretty much free to do what they want to do. And when you watch some of the investigations where they're talking to Mark Zuckerberg, you'll probably get the sense that I did, that he's being pretty crafty with his words and quite manipulative, and that they're not really letting the truth out of the bag, so to speak. So thanks for joining me today. Let's all work together to make the world a safer place for us to communicate and have our privacy and freedom of information, so that people like Mercola aren't getting shut down. My site's been hacked a number of times. We need diversity of opinion. We need to look at both sides of a story, or we can't make an informed decision. And when people start basically controlling what we can say, then we no longer have freedom of speech. Noam Chomsky goes into these issues at great length, like nobody's business. I mean, if you haven't studied Noam Chomsky's work, look into it. Very, very profound. He shows you exactly how large corporations manipulate the public far beyond their realization. So thanks for joining me today. Let's all work together to make the world and data transfer a safer place.